Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Michael Munoz.
I'm Steven Munoz, and thank you for watching Traffic Light Reviews. Today's episode is an Amazon original feature that we are going to discuss in Brittany Runs a Marathon.
Yes.
Now, Brittany Runs a Marathon is I don't want to say coming of age story, because it's different. This is a comedy, and it's a lot light-hearted. It does take its time to get very serious, especially when it deals with a woman that is going through a transformation with her weight, as and she tries to decide to run the marathon as a sense of accomplishment. Now, as a big person myself, I know what it's like personally throughout the years of having to deal with realizing and understanding what it will take for you to actually overcome that. When it comes to a lot of people's insecurities and fears, it does take a lot out of them mentally. It does take a lot out of them physically, and so I really do applaud this movie for its way of showing that.
Right.
For its way of I felt like it was one of the first few movies in a while that really had a complete sense of showing the positivity, the negativity, every single aspect of what it takes while someone's going through that.
Yeah.
And especially too specifically with this character and her friends, her backstory, the little things that just made it so funny, so humorous that was very much unique to this movie, to this story. I think it did a really good job of using everything possible to tell the best story it could about this.
Yeah, I mean, the movie is a comedy. Okay, it is a comedy, but when it gets dramatic, it gets surprisingly heavy, like really heavy, and you kind of feel bad for the character, for the ups and downs that she goes through, and she starts to do well, and then she sinks, and then she does well, and then she sinks, and she doesn't know how to deal with it. She doesn't know how to deal with success because she's never had it. And when she does have it, she sort of messes it up all over again. And I think a lot of us can relate to that on some level. I really don't remember the actress's name, and I'm so sorry. But the star of Brittany Runs a Marathon is brilliant. She is great in this movie. She's hilarious. She's vulnerable. She's a lot of fun. And the truth is, I thought she was great. I thought she was great. All the supporting actors were really good in this movie. It's shot in New York. It's shot in New York, in certain parts of Brooklyn and Queens. If you're from the New York City, you'll recognize some of the background. But it's a very funny movie. It gets really heavy. It does speak to all of us that are trying to find ourselves, trying to figure out what we want to do in life, while everyone else around us seems like they got it all together. You know?
One of the bigger things I just felt that I if a movie's gonna be preachy, I'm okay with it being preachy. But when it comes to the idea of like, let's take a moment in the movie to be preachy, it all depends on how you handle it.
Right.
So just a spoiler alert for one scene. There's a scene where, as Brittany's losing weight, she is in a group of people where there's one overweight woman, and she starts to berate that woman. And later on, it's like a little love letter. I don't know if it was because the writer wrote it this way specifically. The overweight woman who got attacked in the movie, she sort of gives a monologue, and it's done a little. It's not as preachy as I might be making it sound.
Right.
But pretty much she explains her position, her point of view, because yes, it was an uncomfortable scene. Um, I could understand, and I've talked to I've talked to so many people that have dealt with specific things that when they're around what they used to have the problem of, that yes, it's not unnatural for people to comment upon it in a negative way, whether it be addicts and or alcoholics, and then they come across other addicts, alcoholics, and they berate them for it, and
Yeah.
not remembering what it took for them just to get to their point and how they felt when they were in that position. Um, and I think the movie did a good job of not being too preachy. It once the scene started, I'm like, oh, okay, I know, like, okay, here we go. This could get preachy, and I just thought it was tastefully done to the point where, yeah, they wanted to highlight it, and they wanted it to punch. They wanted to make sense that everybody is at different levels of when they're trying to better themselves or whatever problem they're going through.
Right.
So, in terms of talking about that, It's how do you talk about that without being uncomfortable or without being preachy or without being weird.
Hmm.
But I think this movie in particular did a really good job of handling that
Yeah.
and exemplifying that, because sometimes it's not easy to talk about these things. There are many TV shows that try to delve deep into talking about people's problems, and they get to have 13 to 24 episodes about it. This is just a
Yeah.
2 hour movie, so it it's really hard to fully give a unbiased, complete, thorough explanation of all sides. And
Right.
I think that what this movie tried to do was completely effective in telling its story the way the way it should have been.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you there. I mean, the Brittany runs a marathon. The marathon is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for accomplishing something in your life when you feel like you haven't accomplished anything. And I thought the movie did a great job of putting that through. I'm not going to say any spoilers, but she does run the marathon. It happens. So Brittany runs a marathon, tells the story of a young woman living in New York City who has weight issues, who has self-confidence issues, who has career issues, and finally decides to do something about it. In this case, run a marathon. The movie is very funny, surprisingly dramatic, and painful to watch in some scenes because you so desperately want her to succeed. And when she doesn't right away, I think we can all connect to that on some level. We all want to succeed. We all want to, get that career, have that stability, reach people with our art or whatever it is that we're into. And this movie is a beautiful, beautiful metaphor for that. If you got a chance, watch it, check it out. I'm definitely going to give it the green light. I liked it, and I hope you will too. I think you will. I think you will.
Brittany Runs a Marathon is a story that has been told in different ways. And in this particular way, I think it's so relevant. I think it's so powerful to people today, especially too because it really captures, and maybe I'm talking from a biased perspective, the idea of struggle in an urban, big, major city life and everything that comes with it as you're trying to progress. Um, and with this particularly, it shows the struggle from a woman's point, which we don't see too often, and everything that she has to go through, the struggles that she has to endure in order to try to come out on top. And so the metaphor that is running the marathon in terms of changing her whole life for the better is something that I believe is truly relatable on a fundamental sense that everyone could see. Um, I don't think you need to necessarily be from a major city in order to understand this. This is something that plagues people all around the world, and it is an uplifting story in its own weird way because there the humor is very specific. Um, Maybe that taste of humor may not be for everybody. The sarcasm, the wit, it's jam packed with it, and it's definitely something that will make you feel when it hits. When it gets serious, it lets you know, and then when it's funny, it's tremendous. It's just one of those movies that you won't really know unless somebody talks about it. And I do give it the green light because I think it's something that people should see, and I think it's definitely worth their time. And you definitely will be thankful when you watch it. Thank you for watching Traffic Light Reviews and our review of Brittany Runs a Marathon. We hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to leave any comments in the description below.
Yes, and please, please subscribe because if you don't subscribe, we're just talking to ourselves. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.